Every morning, the countdown begins for the markets with meticulous research and analysis designed to help you capitalize on the trading day. Beaming live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studio.
Good morning. You're with us here on a fresh new edition of Bazaar Morning Call. We are coming to you live from the CNBC TV 18 Motilal Oswal studios. I'm Prashant. With me, my colleagues Nigel and Surabhi. Guys, good morning. And there's a dhamaka.
Oh, yeah.
The dhamaka is not the RBI. The RBI is going to be a pretty cool 25 basis point cut if economists are to be believed. But the dhamaka is coming in from the US. And it's the most public meltdown we're seeing between Trump and Musk. I mean, absolutely amazing.
So, relationships many a times go sour. This one turned very quickly and very public. And we're talking about two of the most powerful people on the planet.
Well, that's right. It's a Friday morning, so I'm in the mood for a little bit of masti. So, when we were growing up, we used to watch the WWF, right? And you had tag team partners, right? And sometimes those tag team partners used to turn on each other. That's what's happened here. They were in the same corner, backing each other up, and suddenly that partner, suddenly has turned on.
Till Jan and even up till Feb, Little X and the hugging pictures and Grandfather Trump. It was also lovely, and now it's split wide open, to say the least. And the barbs just keep coming. And Prashant, that's the thing, right? I mean, the barbs just have kept coming. It's not stopped at one tweet. It's one versus the other. Leading up to now, Trump is saying he was part of the Epstein files and whatnot. What is going on?
I'm going to call it from deal making to detonation, right? And I think that's the way to do it. But it's one of the most public fallouts. What happens when two of the most powerful, polarizing, even some would say unpredictable figures in American politics and business turn on each other? That is the question. President of the world's largest economy, the most powerful country, and the world's richest man, right? Right up there in terms of politics and business. Of course, Musk has got space launches, electric vehicles, and, of course, now political discourse on his platform as well. The gloves are truly off, and I think it's important. This is the only thing anyone is talking about, and I'm not exaggerating, really. So let's just start with what has happened basically over the last 12 hours or so. And this is just that. Over the last 12 hours, but a lot has happened. Trump opened the salvo with a sharp dismissal, calling Elon Musk crazy, claiming that he personally told him to leave and framing Musk's outrage as little more than a tantrum over lost federal support. These are Trump's words. Trump just went crazy, that's a quote, after the EV mandate was scrapped. But there was more. There was more than insult in the tone. There was injury in the statement. Trump said he was taken aback. And he said, I've aided him significantly. Elon and I had a fantastic rapport. I can't say if that will continue. That sense of betrayal quickly turned into acquisition. So Trump alleged that Musk has had full visibility into the legislation. The legislation we're talking about is Trump's big, beautiful bill. And he voiced no objections, which is Trump saying that Musk voiced no objections. He looked at the bill, but he had nothing negative to say about it at that point in time. This is the quote. He said he knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. Well, then came the fiscal threat, and this is the real one. This is the big one. He posted on Truth Social, that is President Trump, that the easiest way to save billions would be to tear up government contracts with Musk's companies. And the quote goes, I was always surprised that Biden didn't do it. Almost a taunt. And finally, Trump got to the heart of the heart of his frustration, subsidies. He suggested Musk is furious simply because the EV tax credit regime is being wound down. They are struggling, he said, and that's a quote, the electric vehicles, and they expect billions in subsidies. Elon knew this from the outset, end of quote. In short, Trump's narrative is transactional. The relationship soured, he says, when the financial incentives ended. But if Trump's tone is clipped and combative, Musk's response is blistering. Well, let's just now go through what he said. He began by calling out what he claims is outright fiction. And the quote goes, this bill was never shown to me, not once, and was passed in the dead of the night so fast that almost no one in Congress could even read it. End of quote. a direct rebuttal and an implicit charge of backroom politics. Then, with his signature flair for provocation, Musk flipped the script, claiming Trump owes him the presidency. And the quote goes, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Dems, that is Democrats, would control the House and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." End of quote. What followed was both pointed and personal. Such ingratitude, and that's an exact quote Musk posted. It's an icy response from a man who clearly feels betrayed. But the escalation didn't stop there. When a user floated the idea that Trump should be impeached and J.D. Vance should replace him, Musk replied with a crisp, unambiguous quote, "Yes." And then the most explosive charge of all, which I think is making headlines now, Musk claimed Trump's name appears in the sealed Epstein files and that this is, and I quote, "the real reason they've never been released." No documents, no follow-up, but essentially it's a grenade lobbed into the political discourse. Nonetheless, as for Trump's threat to cancel contracts, Musk didn't flinch. He declared that SpaceX would begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. I mean, it's a dramatic, if likely symbolic response at this point in time. So, I mean, this is the run-through, the read-through in terms of what he said so far. But I don't think we should expect... I mean, this escalated so quickly, right? So quickly. It was just 24 hours back, it was just sort of comments which Musk was making on Twitter. We heard from the White House press secretary, but nothing beyond that. But of course, I mean, last night at that press exchange when Trump was sitting down in the White House with the German chancellor, he was asked these questions and all of this sort of came pouring out. And of course, Musk responding, as I said. I mean, this is important to track from a market perspective as well, because, you know, it's all, if you remember what happened during Trump 1.0 presidency, it was a rotating door, revolving door, person after person. I mean, the entire team changed within the first 2 years. So far, things have been very stable. This, of course, Mr. Musk and how powerful he is and the influence he has injects a lot of uncertainty into the Trump administration. I mean, the fight injects a lot of uncertainty to the Trump administration and potentially what it will do going forward in terms of policy, tariffs, etc. I mean, it basically affects everything. It's hard to know at this point in time, but I think it's pretty important from a market standpoint as well. Back to you guys.
Okay, all right, absolutely. I mean, this has been huge. It's been big. And it's had its impact on the market already. I mean, the Tesla stock was down about 14% yesterday. Overall, US markets also ended lower. And it's going to be a lot about the non-farm payrolls data and what we got yesterday. In general, the market was cooling off. Now, this morning, we're seeing Asian markets have a bit of a mixed hue. Some of them have been holding up. But if you look at markets, for instance, like the Hang Seng, there's a bit of red there. The Hang Seng was an outperformer yesterday, but this morning it's down. The Nikkei is managing to, however, hold its head above water. So they're taking off from Wall Street cues, which are weak. All these headlines coming in. It's not that great of feeling. The key triggers ahead for markets today. China-US trade talk. Now, here there seems to be some positive news. I'll come back to that in just a bit. There's a US non-farm payrolls report, and then there is central bank action. So three main drivers of market action today. Let's take it one by one. Now, on the trade talks, Trump says, and I quote, that he had a very good call with Xi Jinping, and this was focused almost entirely on trade. We don't have the specifics, but he says that, Scott Bessent, Lutnick and company, they will all take the trade negotiations now to the next level. So it's giving some sense of at least there's a break in what appeared to be a logjam in the making. Then there is the non-farm payrolls report. Let's come to point number two. We're expecting an addition of 125,000 jobs in May. It will be a deceleration from the previous month, but the market is not right now. The base case is not some major shocker. If that number is below 100,000, then it could be problematic. By the way, yesterday's job market data that came out, the jobless claims data, it was again looking weak. Remember, the private sector ADP report was weak. Yesterday's jobless claims numbers were weak because they rose to about 2.47 versus 2.39 lakh. So there was an increase there in the jobless claims filings. On the central bank action, the ECB has done its part. As expected, it's cut rates by 25 basis points. Now it's all eyes on the RBI, and RBI is likely to follow the similar path. Again, we're expecting 25 basis points rate cut stance to remain accommodative. The market will watch out for any new commentary on growth or any new measures perhaps that could stimulate growth beyond the monetary, beyond the rate cut. Remember, the RBI had revised its FY26 GDP growth estimates lower last time in last policy in April to 6.5%. But since then, we've got this very strong Q4 GDP print of 7.4%. So let's see what the central bank has to say on growth ahead. Now coming to the market, it's been a week of consolidation and it's been very patchy. I mean, mostly directionless, and flows have been patchy from the FPIs. We're not getting that tsunami of money anytime. And in fact, yesterday was a buy number. Today is again a sell number. Earlier in the week, we had a couple of sell days as well. Yesterday's selling was about 208 crores. Domestic institutions continue to support with, yesterday's buying was almost 2,400 crores. A couple of stocks in focus, and plenty of them are going to be based on the fact that there are more blocks. Companies are selling more stake in the market. So Bajaj Finserv, here a team is picking up from sources that promoters could sell as much as 1.9% equity. ZF Commercial, Vivek is picking up that Vapco could be selling, some more stake in blocks today. There's IRDA, which is doing an OFS. So lots of paper hitting the market. Watch out for this. And finally, Ashok Buildcon has got a pretty large contract, almost 1,400 crores from Maharashtra. So that stock will be on my radar as well. Nigel, doesn't feel like a Friday. Feels like a Monday. It's so packed.
Talk for yourself, Surbi. Feeling good this morning, though. In fact, what you hear overnight with regard to Trump as well as Musk, more than anything, I think that hits that hope of America's exceptionalism. Because there was that hope. There was a lot of money flowing out there. You don't want to see this sort of playing out on an international stage. And I'll be interested to see whether or not some of those global funds start moving towards Europe and other emerging markets, and India could potentially be a beneficiary. And the RBI policy, very important today, 25 basis points already in the price. Can they do something more, sound a little bit more dovish? The street will be hoping for that. What happened in yesterday's trade? We ended higher. There was a bit of short covering that played out because both on the Nifty as well as on the Nifty Bank, you had the open interest that was lower. But the FIs, they continued to add some short positions. On index futures, well, there were short positions that were added, as well as on stock futures as well, more shorts than long. So they continue to add some short positions. I like some shorts in the system because a month or so ago, this market was devoid of any kind of shorts. And if you look at it, well, the short positioning now from the FIs, well, it's the highest that we have seen all the way since April 9th. So it's a 2-month high that we are seeing in terms of net short positions. From the start of the series, it's gone up by close to around 30,000 contracts. FIs net short. What about clients? They hold their net long position with close to around 70,000 contracts on the long side. The PCR, that's moved up a little bit. Earlier this week, it had gone to around 0.64. And at that point of time, I'd said that, you'd want to maintain a positive bias. I think now we continue to trade in that range because at that point of time, we had gone to around 24,500 and we bounced from there. So it seems there's a bit of a strategy that's playing out at around 24,800. The call and the put, both of them have added close to around 25 lakh shares apiece. And the premium is roughly around 200 rupees apiece. So you put it together, there appears as a short straddle that's playing out at around 24,800. What is that? You write the same strike, both call as well as put, and you pocket the premium of close to around 400 rupees. That's telling you that it appears that the Nifty in the near term could be in a bit of a range of around 24,400 to around 25,200 on the upside. So that's the strategy that's playing out there. On the Nifty Bank, 56,000. The last 45 days or so, it's been unable to get past that 56,000 odd mark. So for the Nifty Bank, that's the important mark in terms of resistance. First reference point you have is around the 20 DMA. But on the Nifty, I just want to pull up the 50 as well as the 200 DMA because that's a golden crossover that we're talking about. And that's just happened because now on the Nifty, the 50 DMA is actually a little higher than the 200 DMA, and that's precisely what's happened. It's known as a golden crossover. It sometimes is viewed at a bit of a bullish sign on the Nifty. So that's one important point. Stocks that I'm looking at, well, I'm looking at Bajaj Finserv because, of that large trade that we're going to be looking at. But it seems the street was sensing this. There's some short build up out there. And in the last week or so, the stock is down close to 4.5%. So I'll be interested to see whether or not we do see a bit of a bounce as this block gets cleared out. So keep an eye out on this one.
All right, Nigel, thank you very much for that.